So hi Bhumika, how are you doing? How's the weather over there?
Hi, I'm doing well. The weather's fine. It's officially spring, so it's kind of warming up a little, so that's good.
Like over here it was raining helter skelter yesterday. Like it was so good. Like it after such a long time that we got to see such rains, such beautiful weather. So like now now that we have discussed about the weather and exchange pleasantries, I would like to know something about yourself. Like to tell like you to tell everyone something about yourselves, our listeners, a background, where you're from, like what you have done so far, just the basics.
Right, absolutely. So my name is Bhumika Keswani. I'm currently pursuing MS in Strategic Design and Management at Parsons School of Design here in New York City. I'm a textile designer by qualification in undergrad. And after a couple of years of experience, I started my own kidswear brand back in India as a startup. And that inspired me to pursue design as well as business. And I was on the lookout to bridge the gap between design and business, and that inspired me to look for you know further education, further skills that I can hone and get a degree, get an education by one of the most premier institutes in the world. So that's why I'm here.
I'm glad that you are managing, that you have integrated what you wanted to do and it aligns with your educational as well as your entrepreneurial goals. So,
Right.
Bhumika, can you describe the application process for studying MS in strategic design and management at Parsons, including any challenges or surprises that you had encountered along the way?
Absolutely. So the application process for Parsons is pretty straightforward. It's like any other university in America, in any other design university in America. There is an online form with a set of basic questions. They ask for your personal details, your resume. There is an optional portfolio for strategic design and management since it's not a core design course. It's a STEM course, which basically has a bit of mathematics or science or tech integrated in the curriculum. So the portfolio is optional. So it doesn't really matter if you come from a design background or you don't. But something that was an additional section that is not there in most universities, which was there during the year that I applied in, was a section on talking about a problem that you have solved or a problem that you have began to solve in your life. It could be an everyday small scale problem or a big problem that is either social or political or environmental in nature. So you could address parts of your personality and explain to the admissions committee why you deserve this place in the university with either a 5-minute video, or you could write an essay talking about the problem that you have started to address. And other than that, I was very fortunate enough to be guided by Edu Abroad. So the statement of purpose, the letter of recommendations, and other considerations during the IELTS preparation or other English placement test preparations, they were very well taken care of by Edu Abroad.
uh, this application process is a unique experience in itself. So, speaking of
Absolutely.
experiences, can you tell us about your experience with the faculty and professors at Parsons, including any memorable moments or lessons you have learned there?
Right. So I've almost completed 2 semesters here at Parsons. So almost an entire academic year. And over the year, I have had 6 different courses. So that means 6 faculties. And each professor that I've had has gone beyond, above and beyond what was expected of them. And they've not just stuck to the curriculum that was specified or designed, but they've gone beyond and tapped into their own personal resources, invited guest speakers, invited external industry experts, their friends, business owners, and even people who have just entered the university, or even big CEOs of multinational corporations. I remember specifically one faculty of ours who taught us Introduction to Strategic Design and Management in the first semester, got IBM's director, Phil Gilbert, to class for a workshop for us. That was an absolutely phenomenal experience for us. And even apart from that, industry experts do come in for labs, workshops, and there are possibilities of approaching them for internships, possible projects, freelance projects, part-time projects, and even jobs for that matter.
Hmm. That's like a unique experience in itself, indeed. So, do you think networking has played a huge role in this overall experience of yours? And do you think extracurricular activities help in networking? And how have and in just in continuation to this question, how have they contributed to your overall experience, like
Right.
extracurricular activities or organizations at Parsons, in terms of networking as well as in general?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Networking, if you talk to people here, you will realize that cold applications, yeah, applications on different job portals or LinkedIn से इतना benefit नहीं होता है जितना talking to the person sitting next to you or networking
In
would
person.
help you in the long term.
Hmm.
So, extracurricular activities and organizations, luckily at Parsons is a part of the new school. So, there are four other colleges in the new school. So, co-curriculars के लिए, the student doesn't have to go above and beyond to look out for things to do. You have like a plethora of options, like n number of options of being involved in different student organizations. There is an entire portal called Narwhal Nations, specifically designed for students, where you have a million options of extracurricular activities happening every day. So every day you can check the schedule of whatever activities are happening on campus, off campus, what kind of student communities are involved, like museum tours, potlucks, webinars, fitness classes, dance classes, even competitions, even workshops using making centers, cutting, sewing, language classes, and being such a huge university with so many people from all across the globe. There are so many international events, festivals, especially the Indian community at Parsons is so huge that every festival in India, be it Holi, Navratri, Diwali, there is some or the other event or festival happening within campus, which brings the entire university together and, increases the belongingness of yourself in the campus or in the community.
Indeed, indeed. So, as I just mentioned a while back, you said that the Indian community here is huge. So, did it help you settle down at Parsons easily, or were there any cultural differences or challenges that you had faced despite the huge presence of the Indian community?
Yeah. So specifically in strategic design and management, it's the biggest cohort for Parsons. So the entire batch of SDM is should be around 80 students per year on an average. And out of those 80, at least 70% are international students. So it's not just Americans or Indians. There are people from all over the globe who are coming. So initially, it is challenging as a new student to, get into the groove of understanding different food habits, understanding different languages, or even accents. But because SDM promotes teamwork and group work, like right from the first class, right from the first semester, right from the first course, you are put into different teams and you can't choose your own teams in the first couple of classes. So you are encouraged to work with people from all across the globe, different cultures, different communities, different races. So you start understanding, start empathizing, start learning from each other, and it becomes easier for you to understand people, empathize with them, and understand different working styles as well. So it does take some time, but it does, you get into the groove and that's smoothen out once you get, comfortable with your peers.
Yeah, you have to deal with things what life throws at you. That there are some things that they are not in your control, but there are things that are in your control, in a control of our listeners and whoever is like aspiring to go there. So in your opinion, what advice do you have for students who are considering studying MS in strategic design and management abroad, and what factors should they consider before making their decision?
Right. So, as far as my knowledge goes, strategic design and management is a very, very specific course. So, not a lot of universities would be offering exactly courses that talk about strategic design and bridging it with management. So, while researching, do have like an open mind. Even right now, if I ask five different professors in SDM what SDM is, they will give me five different answers. So it is a very, it depends from person to person. It depends from industry to industry. A person in healthcare would have a different perspective of SDM than compared to a person working in fashion. So while looking at courses, while researching for SDM and management courses abroad, stay super open-minded. Don't have any rigid expectations. Don't try to put SDM in a rigid box. Have a lot of material that you can read. Be comfortable with reading because strategic design and management has a lot of reading in all of the courses. There will be a lot of readings that you will have to catch up to. Be open to challenging challenges. Try to challenge yourself as well. And masters abroad, especially in New York, is an experience. It's not like school back in India where you get the syllabus that, okay, XYZ, ABC, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to study. It's an entire experience. It's a journey that you go on. You work with real world clients, you solve real world problems, you try to understand the community that you are trying to solve the problem for. And strategic design and management requires you to be very, very confident of yourself. Be ready to get on the spot, express yourself, be somewhat of an extrovert, be okay with presentations and, addressing an audience or addressing a large body of people. Because essentially, you are not just a designer, but you are going to enter an organization into the management section as well.
Surely useful tips in any section of the society, anywhere you go. Like these tips are like useful in general too. So now I'll play a little POV. You might have heard of POV, point of view. So this, I'm going to give you a little POV scenario, and you have to like respond to me, react. Malab, you have to like respond to me with regards to that. So you are
Sure.
like you are a senior student at Parsons in your course, and there is this first year student in design, like he or she has just entered the college. So what would be the tips and tricks that you would give to them? What are the sub courses that you would advise them to take? Like if a person asks ki, what should I do, what courses should I take, what tips should I take care of in order to succeed at Parsons, what advice would you give them?
Right, absolutely. So the most beautiful thing about strategic design management is in the first semester, all three of your courses are mandatory. So you don't really have to worry about choosing electives or choosing courses in the first semester. So it is pre-decided and mandatory for you. From the second semester onwards, you can actually start exploring the wide range of electives that are available to you all across all the four other universities. So, depending on your interests, so since I am a textile designer, I come from the fashion background and I have my own startup. I was very much interested in business models, sustainability, business model design. So I was looking for courses in that section. So you can choose electives according to your industry. I know people who are studying aerospace. I know people who are studying lighting design. I know people who have taken teaching as an elective. So strategic design and management is a course that is very malleable and moldable in any industry. You can get into consultancies, you can get into banks, you can get into tech, you can get into product design, you can think of any industry in the world and you can apply strategy, design, and management into that section. So it doesn't bind you or limit you in any way. So it is your own choice of interest and your passion to choose an elective and make do or extract value from those electives. And you get plenty of time before you need to register for your next semester to research, so you can actually take different electives every semester. So even if you don't come from a certain design background, I know friends who are lawyers who are doing strategic design and management, and they want to learn better design skills or better visual skills. So they've taken up graphic design and illustration and visual aesthetics as their elective. So the options are limitless and endless.
Yeah, flexibility is something that is like a core skill, like a core USP, like that helps anywhere. That's like welcome anywhere. So now moving forward, now the logical conclusion of this is like I wanted to ask you about your future plans. So what are your future plans after your masters, and how has your education at Parsons played a role in your career aspirations so far, and how do you think will it affect your future career path?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned before, I have my own brand back in India called CISO. It's a kidswear startup that fuses interactivity in apparel with an intent to instill mindfulness among children. And through those designs, I wish to work in the kids' mental health space. And currently, what I saw where I could bridge my, current skill gap and recognize the same was the ability to professionally manage businesses at a large scale and apply design, strategic design to better those business processes and sharpen those and advance those skills. So, what I currently plan for my future is to expand my brand globally and increase my team, increase the sections of my business, of my brand in strategy, in finances, and in sales. And all of my education, all of my exposure here at Parsons, studying strategic design and management has has been like a huge stepping stone, just pushing me closer to all the success that I want for myself and for my brand.
I hope ki your startup succeeds and it goes to new heights. Just before wrapping up, I just wanted to ask you ki whatever you have studied so far, was there any moment that you realized ki aha, that I had studied this, and in the real world you got to use something that you have studied here in the real world, in your real world startup. Was there any moment, or was there anything that you made you realize ki yes, my time at my masters at Parsons is worth it, and I'm actually able to apply and learn real life things from Parsons and use it in my real life startup?
Absolutely, it happens almost 10 times every day. So, my favorite course in this semester is called Sustainable Business Models. And since I am an entrepreneur and I have designed the business model for my startup along with my two co founders who are also back in India. So, every time I come across another strategy where things can be done in a better way or a more efficient way to, fasten the process or make the process better or more efficient or smoother for, be it supply chain, be it designing, be it just communicating between teams or managements. I am constantly sending whatever I'm learning here and trying to apply it back to the company, to the processes, to, just the transferring of information from one team member to the other. So every couple of days that I learn something new, I'm sharing it with my co-founders and saying, yes, we should apply these things. So if I'm learning about how certain supply chains are not as sustainable as you would think them to be, certain theoretical knowledge of supply chains, or uh, acquiring raw materials from certain parts of the country and transporting it is not considered as sustainable. And there are in-depth researches that local manufacturing and local productions are considered much more beneficial for small scale startups. Then we have tried to incorporate that in our, business model. That was just a small example that I could think of.
शेयरिंग इज केयरिंग इंडीड एंड आई होप जो आपकी नॉलेज जो आप इम्पार्ट कर रहे हो इट एक्चुअली हेल्प्स मेक अ डिफरेंस ऑन ग्राउंड. आई होप कि आपका बिजनेस इट गोज मेन स्ट्रीम, it gets global recognition, and hopefully we can all hear about your brand in the future, in the on the global scene. Thanks a lot for coming here, Bhumika Keswani. Thanks a lot for giving
Thank you so
your time.
much.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. Thank you.